sound that woke me was not the wind. I had lived in the north of Scotland long enough to know the voice of a blizzard, the way it howled like an animal dragged across ice. This sound was different. It was slower, heavier, like something enormous breathing outside my window, waiting for me to notice it. When I opened my eyes, the room was glowing white, not with light but with reflection, as if the snow itself had crawled up the walls and pressed its face against the glass. My phone said 3:17. No signal, no weather alerts. Just one message, received an hour earlier from an unknown number. Do not go outside. The blizzard remembers faces. I was stationed at a temporary weather monitoring outpost near the Cairngorms, part of a short winter contract that promised good money for isolation work. The job sounded simple: collect data, maintain equipment, survive the cold. 3 of us had arrived 2 weeks earlier: me, Callum, and Fraser. The forecast warned of heavy snowfall, but nothing unusual. By the 3rd night, the roads were gone. By the 5th, the radio went quiet. And by the 7th night, the blizzard began doing things that snow should never be able to do. The first sign was the footprints. They appeared each morning outside the station, half buried but unmistakably human. Bare feet, no boots, no gloves. Just a long drag of toes in the snow, as if whoever made them had been pulled backwards into the white. We argued about it at first. Callum said foxes. Fraser laughed and said locals messing with us. But I knew footprints. These were wrong. The spacing was uneven, like someone limping, stopping, turning around. And every single set led directly to our door. On the 6th night, the knocking started. Not banging, not desperate, just 3 slow taps spaced far enough apart that you could convince yourself you imagined them. Fraser opened the door despite my shouting. The cold rushed in like a living thing, stealing the air from the room. There was no one outside, just snow, swirling so thick it felt solid. When Fraser stepped back in, his face had gone pale, his eyes wide and glassy. He didn't speak for hours. Later that night, he whispered from his bunk that someone outside had been calling his name in his own voice. The blizzard intensified after that. Snow fell sideways, then upwards, spiraling like it was being lifted by invisible hands. The anemometer snapped clean off its pole. The temperature dropped faster than any model could explain. And then the faces started appearing in the windows. Not reflections, not imagination. Faces pressed into the snow itself, their mouths open in silent screams, eyes black and hollow. Every time I wiped the glass, more appeared, layered beneath, as if the storm was made of people. Callum disappeared on the 9th morning. One moment he was checking the generator, the next he was gone. No scream, no struggle. Just his radio left on the snow, still crackling with static. We followed his tracks for less than 10 meters before they simply stopped, ending in a smooth patch of untouched white. That night I heard Callum laughing outside. Not panicked, not scared, happy, like he'd found something he'd been missing his whole life. Fraser tried to leave the next day. He packed what he could, wrapped his face, and promised he'd be back with help. I watched him walk into the storm until the white swallowed him whole. 10 minutes later, he walked back out of the blizzard, calm and smiling, his eyelashes frozen solid. He stood at the door and asked me to let him in. His voice was perfect, but his eyes were wrong, too still, like glass beads pushed into snow. When I refused, he tilted his head and said, "It's colder inside. You'll see." He walked away, straight into the wind, and I never saw him again. That was when I found the logbook hidden beneath a floor panel. Not ours. Old. Decades old. Different handwriting. Different crews. Same location. Every entry ended the same way, mid-sentence, ink scratched deep into the page as if the writer's hand had frozen in place. One line stood out, written again and again across multiple books. The blizzard learns you, then it keeps you. The message on my phone made sense then. The reason there were no rescues, no missing person reports, no warnings. Anyone who came here either left before the storm arrived or became part of it. The faces in the snow were not hallucinations. They were layers, memories. The storm wasn't killing people, it was recording them. On the 12th night, the blizzard stopped moving. The wind froze in place, snow suspended mid-air like time itself had cracked. The silence was worse than the noise. I stepped outside without meaning to. The cold didn't bite anymore. It felt warm, familiar. Around me stood shapes, hundreds of them, formed from packed snow, each one shaped like a person I recognized. Callum, Fraser, faces I'd never seen but somehow knew. They all turned towards me at once, I don't remember walking forward, but I remember understanding. The blizzard didn't want bodies. It wanted presence, voices, stories. It needed witnesses to itself. And once it learned you well enough, it never let you go. The last thing I did was send a message. Using the last scrap of signal the storm allowed, I sent it to every number I could. A warning, a plea. Do not come here. Do not answer voices in the snow. If the blizzard knows your name, it's already too late. If you are reading this because you found a signal where none should exist, if you are watching snowfall that seems to pause and listen, then it has started learning you too. And when the storm finally stops, when the world goes white and silent, you will understand the truth we all did.